not a good memory from Chicago for you.
It's a beautiful city, though. We take that into account. But, it's at a different stadium as well.
Right.
But,
different opponent.
Very true, very true. Just concentrated on keeping this tide rolling, this high tide rolling, and hopefully we can keep going this Saturday.
Do you approach this week any differently, knowing that y'all have 3 games next week, well, including Chicago, KC?
Not at all. I think the main aspect is it seems that we're pretty strong mentally. I would probably say the physical presence of keeping guys as healthy as possible. I know last season was a lesson for us that definitely, hopefully, can carry over to us learning from that experience of keeping the trainings light and keeping guys as healthy as possible. And it's 3 games within pretty much 7 days, so 7-8 days. So I think just the healthy aspect of keeping everybody's legs as healthy as possible is the most important thing.
Montreal sat back and defended for most of the match last week. Do you expect something similar from Chicago, who's implemented a 5-3-2 recently and 3-5-2?
That was probably one of the first games, I think, besides playing Colorado last season, to where it's just frustrating to play against teams like that. And I mean, for half the game it worked for them. So I think that but that's probably one of the first times besides the Colorado from last year, the Colorado match, to where I've seen a team not want to attack at all, and having the right mid mark me along with the right back and just having them so organized from side to side. It was definitely frustrating for probably pretty much the entire match before we did tie it up and open up the game a bit more. But I think that most teams in MLS usually don't play like that. It's usually attacking back and forth kind of league that you like to see. But that was the first time I've seen a team sit back so much like that.
Defending Schweinsteiger, now that he's roaming all over the field, what are the challenges in that, and how do you monitor him?
Yeah, I think he's been their guy, their distributor most the last few games. I think he's been even in a kind of center back, kind of like a sweeper keeper kind of guy to build out of the back with, and as the ball moves forward, it seems that he moves forward into that center mid position. So he's a guy. I mean, he's going to be a distributor of the whole entire game, and I think as long as you can somewhat take him out of the game, you can probably create a lot more chances during the game, and I mean, just those guys with that kind of guys that have really made a name for themselves through this game, like Ibrahimovic, Schweinsteiger, David Villa. Those are guys that can really change the game if you give them that opportunity. And I think just keeping him under control, which won't be from our standpoint, it will be from the forwards and midfielder standpoint. So as long as we can keep him under control, I think we can build off from that and create a lot more chances.
Is that a matter of them pressuring him?
I would say so.
Okay. Yeah. And what's happened to that position? I mean, it kind of disappeared for a while, and now it's starting to come back into vogue a little bit.
What position?
The sweeper.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's an absolute sweeper, and defensively, I'd say just building out of the back to where he can be an outlet for the goalie and an outlet for the center backs. I mean, he's probably one of the most technical guys on their team, so that's why they use him at that position. So he's a guy that can play a wonderful long ball from 70 yards back and find a guy's chest or a guy's foot from that far back in the pitch, and then he moves up into the midfield and kind of distributes from there, from side to side. So as I said, as long as we can keep that under control, we can probably do some damage.
Can you take free kicks?
Not that well. Not that well. No, not at all. He's a free kick specialist, and I think that, as I said, he threw a fist pump in there right after the first foul, as if it was a PK, knowing that it was knowing that he was going to have a chance. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that. All right, that's cool.
Yeah. How imperative is it to get these points on the road, especially against Eastern Conference teams that could be in that playoff positioning with you?
Yeah, for sure. This is a win-win situation for us. I think that we've showed it with the West Coast teams. Minnesota being in the West and LA being in the West, and now we have Chicago that's in our own conference, and hopefully we can build off from what we've done in the past and keep that going with these away games. I think if we can do that definitely proves a point to the whole entire league and especially to ourselves.
When you saw him do the fist pump before he'd even taken the kick, what did you think?
I mean, games are always usually different, right? You have guys that do super well in training, and then games might freeze up. But I mean, he showed that resilience, and he showed that he has the courage to do it in training as well as he does in training, and as well he does in the game. So I think that it just transferred over to really, just the consistency he really has in kicking a free kick.
But I mean, were you thinking, okay, we're about to take a lead? I saw Kratz give the fist pump.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a wonderful spot for him, and I think that him being a free kick specialist, he knew exactly what he was doing.